Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. It's January 13th, 2021. And guess what? We all have put 2020 behind us and we are moving into 2021 with, I think, renewed hope for better things to come. And looking back at 2020 and the challenges we encountered, of course, it can only get better, doesn't it? So with that, I have a, a few items that I want to talk to you about. Number one, of course, let me start off with the issues surrounding COVID-19. As I shared with you in December, COVID-19 is spiking. We see that. I don't tell you anything new. What you will see from the city's point of view, and what you have been seeing, is that we are trying to focus our daily email updates a little bit more onto the city of Monterey data. We are emphasizing how many people we have in the city right now as COVID positive. We try to share with you also the information that we receive from CHOMP with respect of the hospitalization rates. And as much as we can share, we want to even go down into geocoding, what kind of neighborhoods have what kind of data. The last data suggestion is very hard to come by. We are working with the County of Monterey to learn more about this, but you will see in you have seen in our daily emails that we are focusing more on Monterey and what we can do in Monterey. When you look at the numbers and you see the strong upwards trend, just on Monday, the Montage Health representative at a meeting reported that they have 66 COVID positive patients in their hospital. 66. These were numbers that we barely reached during the height of the first wave in the whole county. Now we had them at our hospital in Monterey. When those numbers were reported, I was inquiring where do you think those infections come from? What is the cause for those infections? And time again, I hear from CHOMP, as well as I hear from the Monterey County Health Department. They come from family gatherings. They come from gatherings where households mix and mingle and infect each other. And so what we are definitely seeing is based on the celebrations that we had in around Thanksgiving, that we had during the holidays. And if you bring somebody into your household and you're not using the precautionary measures, i.e., you just meet outside for a short amount of time, etc., socially distance, etc., yeah, the infections numbers reflect that those procedures were not followed. So a quick reminder for all of us, the high infection rates that we have, the main cause is seen as of households meeting with each others that should not meet with each other. So again, as I told you in December, for my own family, we stay apart from everyone else, and we just march through the COVID-19 period by being absolutely isolated from everybody else. So I encourage you to do that because, as I said, that's the main cause right now of those spikes. The vaccinations. I want to talk about the vaccinations briefly. The vaccinations system that was implemented by the state of California followed CDC guidelines. And as you know, and we have promoted that, and the Monterey County is promoting that as well, there is a complex tier system from 1A, 1B, 1C to then tier 2, 3, and 4 that basically talks about when what group will be vaccinated. Yesterday, the CDC has issued a new guideline or new guidelines looking just at the overall rollout of the vaccines and the actually shot and given into the arms. And what you can see is that there is a real delta, a real difference between COVID vaccines received in the state of California and COVID vaccines administered in the state of California. And here's some background that I learned on Monday during a county health department meeting, which basically is that the numbers that are published between what the state has received and what has been administered are not really real-time data. So I tell you that uh, I believe yesterday the state of California had about 2.1 million doses uh, received, and about, I would say, 800, 900,000 doses were actually administered as shot in the arms. Now, that's a huge difference between a little over 2 million and a little below 1 million of actually administered doses. And what the database that is tracking the administered shots is basically telling us is that the database is not real time, it is delayed, and that there is another number out there that actually shows the real number of vaccinations administered. Now, the state of California scored as the fifth worst state in the nation with respect of administering vaccinations on Monday as well. And the Dr. Gali, the California health official, yesterday promised to administer at least 1 million vaccinations this week and try to ramp it up. And I want to share with you two things. Number one, yesterday, as I said, the CDC changed their guidelines about the tiered system, and they came to the realization that the system has to be simpler. And I've I've been personally advocating also for a very simple system. We at this present time, it is important for us to get the vaccinations rolled out, and the system has to be simple. And the CDC yesterday basically talked about an age-driven vaccination schedule, and I think that is the right step into the right direction. The governor's office is responding to that, and we expect tomorrow, on Thursday, that the California Public Health Department will revise the tiered system and will adjust the vaccination schedules based on the latest CDC guidelines. So, all of you that are in the age group of 65 and older, I think your vaccination time will come sooner than expected and than originally expected. So I really hope the state of California will follow the CDC guidelines and will create a system that is a little bit more intuitive because it seeks out those that are most vulnerable first and foremost, and these are the populations of 65 and older, and then works their way down into the various age groups. Of course, we got to take care of our healthcare providers first and foremost. These are the frontline workers, but and they need to get vaccinated and need to be protected in order to fulfill their jobs in our hospitals and our care system. But last but not least, the new guidelines that California hopefully will adjust tomorrow will help us with the vaccination rollout. What you should also keep in mind is that what you see on a different scale is the repeat of setting up a system for testing. When we set up the testing in, I believe, April, May, June, that was also not a very smooth process, and it will take some time. What also is something that you will see hopefully sooner than later are outdoor vaccination events. The greatest, safest way of administering mass vaccinations will be probably outdoors. You might have heard yesterday that the county of Orange designated Disneyland as one of the outdoor vaccination events, and I can only imagine that they talked about parking lots there or other areas to use for that. And similarly, I think we will see something like that on the Monterey Peninsula as well, or in the county of Monterey, outdoor vaccination events. Again, that is something that will start, and it will be parallel to the testing. There will be ups and there will be downs, and there will be challenges along the way, but I'm very hopeful that this will materialize very, very soon. The vaccinations in the county, by the end of this week, the county will have received 24,100 doses of the Pfizer or the Moderna vaccine. So that's 24,100 doses. We have a county of about 400,000 residents, about 17, I believe about 10,000 doses of those have been already administered. Again, those numbers are backlogged, and I cannot give you the real data right now just because it is with the state, not with the county. My discussion will very positive. They have a lot of answers and are trying to be very transparent about that. But we, as the cities, will continue pinging them to get information because we are being asked by you. We are being asked by our elected officials. The question about if veterans with a VA card will be handled differently. That's a question I cannot answer. I think the system will be set up based on age and will based on age and need, and that will be a pretty clear category. The system has to be simple, and if the VA does something differently for their members, okay. But the more simpler the system is, the easier it is to organize. If you have to go through a lot of background checking and verifying, it makes it harder to administer. It is right now, I think, important to get vaccinations into the arms. I want to share with you that the city has completed vaccination of the fire department. We started that about 10 days ago on Saturday. We received Pfizer vaccine for our first responders, and we completed vaccination of the fire department last week, Thursday. And now, of course, they are on the timeline to get the second dosage according to the guidelines of the Pfizer vaccine. Our paramedics that we have in the city, we have 10 paramedics in the city. And we are looking also at using the paramedics for other vaccination events. I cannot tell you right now to what degree that will be affecting also our residents, but we want to make the paramedics also available as additional vaccinators to help our public health officials to get vaccines distributed. So a little bit of good news there is that our fire department has been vaccinated, and of course the fire EMTs, emergency medical technicians, they are always the first ones on site with our when we have medical calls, which is probably 98% of the calls that our fire department responds to. And of those, every single firefighter is an EMT, an emergency medical technician, but among those we have 10 paramedics, and these are the guys that are actually authorized to administer vaccines. So again, we want to make those paramedics also available for other organizations, for other groups, and we are working through those issues right now as well. So with that leaves me to conclude my COVID part about letting you all know to please remain socially distant, to please not mix and mingle with the hospitals, with the households, because the hospitals are full. And I also want to let you know to please wear a mask wherever you can wear a mask, and to comply with all the guidelines. It's really up to us right now to curb the infection rates again. And I think Dr. Gali yesterday was cautiously optimistic, but looking at the Central Coast and looking also at the Monterey Peninsula, the numbers are still very, very high and very, very bad. So we do our best to amplify the messaging and create an environment in which we really try to contain the spread. Um, I wanted to give you a brief budget outlook. Of course, we already shared with the council that we have to find some additional money over the next 5-6 months to get through the current fiscal year, which ends June 30th. The new stay-at-home order makes it a little harder for us also, because the TOT and the sales tax, of course, takes a hit as well. Um, and so the new stay-at-home order that was becoming in effect, I believe, December 13th, has definitely left its mark on our projections for the hotel tax and the sales tax. I want to let you know that I'm personally really not worried about that too much. And why do I say I'm not worried? It doesn't mean I don't care, but our priorities are public health right now, and we can figure out how we get through the next 4 or 5 months until we basically have, hopefully, a more return to normalcy based on the level of vaccinations that we then have within our own population. So I'm very concerned about COVID-19. I'm very concerned about the vaccinations. Of course, I'm concerned about the budget. But I want to share with you that we'll figure out a way how to get through the next 4 or 5 months jointly. This community is very educated, it's very smart, it's very helpful and supportive on many, many levels. And we got to figure out how we get through the next 4 or 5 months. And we have still reserves that we intentionally did not tap into too much when the first wave hit us. And so there is money in the bank, so to speak, and hopefully times will be better and we can put money back into the savings accounts. But for right now, I think we can get by with some one-time infusion of funds. I talking about funds, and I see Esther is online here as well. We have received word, and that is also reflective in some of the budget descriptions, newspaper articles that you see about Governor Newsom's budget, that there is $2.6 billion coming from the federal government towards the state to be used for rental assistance program. So the state of California will receive $2.6 billion in monies that has to be used for rental assistance. That funding was part of the stimulus package that the federal government approved before the holidays. We have not heard yet a lot about how much money this will trickle down to the city of Monterey. We know that the $2.6 billion will be divided up into two larger pots. One pot will be for cities greater than 200,000 residents. The other pot will go to cities with residents less than 200,000. The state of California has 438 cities in the state of California. So we'll see how the state will figure that one out. But we are very hopeful that we get a good shot in the arm, and we will have to allocate that money directly back into rental assistance. So I'm very glad about that dedication as well. And we have a system out there, and we'll hopefully streamline the whole process and get it to us as soon as possible. I was asked a question about the AT&T, and people have expressed the worries about the AT&T as another potential event coming to town and bringing a lot of visitors, etc., etc. Here is what I know. I know that the AT&T is a very much scaled back AT&T. They are going so far that they disallow the players to bring player guests. Apparently, players always had the right to bring their own guests to watch them play, etc. So the PGA is trying to organize it in a way that really reduces the number of attendees to basically the players, the caddies, and whatever else they are allowed to have, but not player guest, not corporate guest of the sponsors, etc., etc. And I can share with you that some of the hotels that had bookings for that have those blocks now taken away from them again from corporate businesses. I also know that one larger hotel block is booked by CBS, who will transmit the AT&T as always. So there's still a contingent coming of journalists and a contingent of CBS for the TV broadcast. But I wanted to let you know from my perspective right now, this will be an event that will take place, but it will be a real non-event with respect to what we could have expected, even with a small contingent of player guests, etc., and corporate sponsorship guests, etc. This will be not allowed on my based on my information that I have presently. I wanted to talk about the next topic. The council has received last week Tuesday a request from the Monterey Chamber of Commerce to talk about third-party delivery fees, DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, etc. And the restaurants have basically asked the chamber to contact the city. Some of those third-party delivery companies charge up to 30% delivery fees that are being borne by the restaurant. They are not being borne by the customers. But if you sell a $60 meal to a customer, and $60 of 30% of $60 is $18. So what the restaurant then actually has at the end is $42 in their own pocket. $18 are being taken by a third-party delivery company like DoorDash or Uber Eats or Grubhub. So the point in all of that is the many cities around the country, also in the state of California, have capped delivery fees to 15% and do not allow them to charge more than 15% of delivery fee costs towards the restaurants. Now, some cities have ordinances out there that do not prohibit extra fees. So some of the companies then turned around and charged extra fees to the customers when they used one of those companies. So there is a fee that is paid by the restaurant, and now is a fee paid by us, the consumers. We are trying to do a public outreach there to get our bearings, to understand the topic better as staff. So we have a meeting next week on Wednesday, I believe, at 10 o'clock, where we will solicit input from restaurants, but also from third-party delivery folks, because for every consequence that we are doing as government, there's an unintended consequence. And of course, you have folks that may be unemployed or that have to substitute their income with delivery driving at night or in the evening for restaurants. And for everything that we are doing, there's a countermeasure. So we want to learn a little bit more about what is going on there, and before we can advise the council of what kind of measure they may want to consider implementing. But it's an interesting topic, as outdoor dining is prohibited. The number of delivery for food has really increased by 80-90% for some of the restaurants affected by that. We we started something else that is brand new, and I wanted to talk about that as well. It's a new engagement platform that is called Have Your Say Monterey. When you go onto our website, www.monterey.org, you will find a link directly to this new feature that we are offering. This is not a new website. This is actually a new third-party software that is operating in the mysterious cloud. But it is a software that allows you to see what others have posted. It is a software that allows you to participate in surveys, etc. And we used actually this software to gauge the interest about cannabis, because as I shared with you in my last broadcast in December, we want to hear from you, and we need to hear from you. But I encourage you to go out there and look it up. It requires you to register, and that is one of the features that we need, that I think is important to know. We really want the input from our residents, and we really want to see also where the residents live and what they think about it. It's still anonymous, and it still, in a way, allows you to select what kind of information you want to share with us. But it is an anonymous survey tool, but we want to limit it also to to our folks living in the city of Monterey. We're using this now for cannabis, and we also have out there the DoorDash information. We have out there, I believe, two other topics that I think you might find interesting. And again, we are in the testing phase, but I tell you, for in the first week or so, we have close to 100 residents registered already, and 78 of those registered residents have already filled out the online survey for the cannabis topic. So it works very well. The Dan Presser, if you go onto the website www.monterey.org, this is our start page in Monterey, city of Monterey. You will find directly the link to Have Your Say Monterey there on the front page. Also in our daily emails, we will share that information and that link as well, and you can just click on that link and get there then. So Have Your Say Monterey has started, and I really hope you all will participate and share with us what you think about certain topics. And it's one of the things that I think is opening up our communications. But what I wanted to also say is, nevertheless, there are residents, as Esther pointed out to us a few weeks ago, who are not online, who are not smartphone owners, who may not even have a flip phone. And so we will also send out a paper survey with respect to cannabis, and we'll hopefully have people returning that paper survey to us as well. That will be a prepaid paper survey to make it easy for everyone. That's the best I think we can do right now, in addition to virtual meetings, to push that topic forward in times of COVID. So having said that, please stay tuned for all of that. And like I said, I see one of our guys, I think Eric Palmer, just posted the website, Dan Presser. So you see that in the chat box to the right. Last but not least, it's a very personal note that I want to leave with you. As you see towards Washington, D.C., you see a lot of events taking place. And I want to share with you that on a very personal level, I'm affected by that, because I as you know, are not really a person that has been living in the United States for a long time. I grew up in post-war Germany, and as part of our upbringing at that time, we were really educated and taught by our teachers and by our peers and by our elected officials to really watch out for the democracy that was reestablished after World War II in Germany. And a lot of the elements that we have in our constitution in Germany and a lot of the principles that we are adhering to when I lived in Germany came from the United States of America, and I'm deeply worried about the things that are going on right now in Washington and also across the nation. You heard the former governor of California, share some of his personal thoughts that he had as a young Austrian, Governor Schwarzenegger, as a young Austrian growing up in Austria post-war, World War II. I can tell you from my own experience, he was really echoing a lot of the thoughts that I had. We have to be vigilant. We have to be respectful for each other, but we also need to tell truth to the powers to be careful on protecting our democracy right now. We are at a really difficult point, and I had never thought that it would affect me so much, but I am very concerned about what we see right now as being similar to events that the governor described in his video message, and that I also can amplify based on my own upbringing post-war Germany. So I encourage all of you to speak up. I encourage all of you to please help each other and educate each other should there be friends of yours or neighbors of yours who might fall for the lies that are being told to us by some of the folks right now. Um, so with that, I apologize. I ended on a very personal note, but I wanted to share this with you, my neighbors, as well, that the current events have left a little mark on me as well. We are following all the channels with respect to security, and we are keeping a close eye on local developments as well. So I can assure you there as well that we are very much aware of what is going on in the state of California, or maybe also locally. So with that, I hope you have a nice day, and please stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you again for tuning in. Have a great day. Bye-bye.